Hi, I'm Jason, and I live in one of the world's most expensive cities, Sydney, Australia, with my pack of dogs living in a rental house. I can no longer resist the call to live simply and sustainably off-grid somewhere quiet, so I'm on an urgent deadline and a budget. 2 years, starting from scratch. I need to save money, build skills, and most importantly, enjoy the journey. Welcome to my channel, The Off-Grid Challenge. During the day, I work in IT, and yes, that's me, professional from the waist up, in classic working from home style. I have 5 dogs and compete in dog sports during my spare time. Well, at least I used to prior to the COVID restrictions. I live on a rental property with a large yard by Sydney standards, and the house is what I would call rather basic in parts. I don't mind though, as I love being outdoors with the dogs, and gardening is a huge passion. My desire to move off-grid is more than just not being able to afford living in Sydney. I can't afford to buy property here, but it goes much deeper than that. The desire to live much more simply, where there's less stuff but more experiences, that's the type of life I'm actually looking for. So just to clarify my situation, it's very cute, make it hard to concentrate. Just to clarify my situation, I do have some investments that I can't touch and a safety net. In order to do this, I'm going to have to start from scratch. That's my commitment to you guys and to you, Stormy. 2 years starting from scratch. I'm going to be living off-grid somewhere in Australia. One of the reasons I started this channel is that I really enjoy photography, so I thought it'd be really fun to record everything that I do so that I can look back at one day. There will be skill building such as gardening, woodworking, cooking, budgeting, and yes, there's going to be lots and lots of pets. All this working towards fulfilling that dream of living off-grid. So let's do a tour of the backyard because that's where I spend most of my time. The mulberry tree is the heart and soul of the property. Standing over 2 stories tall, it provides amazing shade during the summer. In early spring, it produces copious amounts of fruit. It drops a lot on the ground, which the dogs love to scavenge. In truth, they probably eat a bit too much than what's actually good for them, but there's little I can do about it. Sitting on my small deck under the mulberry tree with a nice hot coffee and the dogs playing in the backyard is an opportunity to be truly present in the moment, not to be worried about what's happened in the past, or to be stressed about what's coming up in the future. If sitting on a small deck that I made under one tree can bring me such contentment, I'm truly excited by the prospect of living off-grid. I would describe my gardening style as strictly organic, no-dig gardening. I'm going to break down my gardening techniques in detail in the next episode. In this garden bed, I've got corn seedlings just popping through. Corn is a very thirsty plant, but given that the dam levels are over 90% this year, there's no threat of water restrictions, so I'm really looking forward to getting some freshly picked corn. At the back of the property, I have an additional 12 square meters of raised garden beds. Whilst there are a few things growing here, it's actually quite neglected, so we're going to do a big makeover in the next episode and get this fully productive again. The passion fruit vine has been established for a few years, and I still think it's one of the most amazing flowers out there. There's a nice sized shed as well, which I plan to turn into a workshop for quite a few building projects that I've got planned. I built this freestanding deck, which is not quite finished yet. I can't actually get out and get the timber I need due to lockdowns. That's my excuse anyway, I'm sticking to it, and I need to finish this off soon and stain it. Towards the back door, I've got a scented geranium which makes an amazing herbal tea, and I've planted some sunflowers which are just poking through right now. Then there's a small cottage garden that I can see from my kitchen window. It has, at the moment, lavender and roses, and I've just planted some dahlias which are gonna look amazing once they all come through. Let's do some cooking. Today we're gonna make some mulberry molasses. By far the easiest way to collect mulberries is simply put a tarp on the ground and give the trees a good old shake. Here's the finished product. I ended up with 175 mils, which may not seem like much, but it's very intense and a little goes a long, long way. For dinner I'm having roast veggies. That's my last pumpkin from last season's crop. I'm coating the carrots and also the pumpkin in the mulberry syrup. The carrots were quite nice, but the pumpkin was absolutely delicious. I also made some Anzac biscuits, but instead of using golden syrup, I used the mulberry syrup instead. And oh boy, these are a new favourite and I'm definitely making them again. I'm so excited that you've decided to join me in my adventures. In the next episode, I'm going to be looking at why I think establishing your own food independence is absolutely critical in today's society.